send it to him, Coach?
Yeah. He on.
Oh, okay. Hey, make sure when we start talking about where you want to put the rankings, our rankings.
Hey, I'd like to welcome everybody to HBCU Coach's Corner. And I'm here with the SWAC legend himself, Johnny Cole, and our other castmate, the Rattler, Steve Campbell. Hey, Coach, before we get started, how we doing, Coach?
Good, Coach. As always, man. I can't take a break, man. We've been getting after it, and it's football time, baby. And we very, very excited, with all these new coaches and some of these transfers and people jumping ship and from this ship to that ship. Man, it's gonna be interesting, man. I love it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, Coach, as you're reaching out and setting up these interviews and talking to different coaches and friends around the league, how excited are the coaches this time of year as they prepare for the upcoming season?
Well, this time of year is you thinking about, have I crossed all the T's and have I dotted all the I's? Because it's showtime now. You got your kids coming in, you got a lot going on. You got your coaches coming off of vacation, you got your kids coming off of some of them in summer school or coming from the place they were, and hopefully you had a lot of kids there on campus for the summer. So, we when I talk to them, I try to squeeze in and let them know that we'll work around your schedule. And most of the time when our show comes on, they're finished for the day and they're moving to the nighttime. And of course, it's nighttime meetings, nighttime meal, and getting and preparing for the next day. So it's an exciting time.
As many of you guys know out there watching, we had Chennis Berry yesterday. He was a lightning bolt of energy. He was very excited about the season. Though they're picked to finish, middle of the pack in the MEAC, he was very excited about the team that he has, and he was very optimistic about the prospects moving forward. And tonight, we have none other than the coach that is predicted to win the SWAC this year by the media. And I can't wait to get Coach Robinson on, former NFL player, head coach at Alabama State University, and none other than the Hornet in Chief, Coach E-Rob. How you doing, Coach? All right, we don't have any sound, Coach. You mute?
Yeah, there we go. Mic check,
okay.
Mic check. Yeah,
you on point now, Coach.
That's a new one, Hornet in Chief, man. I'm gonna have to use that one. I like that. Man, y'all got me coming on the day after Chennis, man. I know he has a whole bunch of excitement. I can't match that level of enthusiasm, man. You should have got me a couple of days after him.
Well, to be honest, Coach, I got you first, right? And so we've been reaching out to some of these coaches, man. And as soon as they see you on there, I start getting phone calls. And
okay.
He was like saying, I got to be before Eddie because I know everybody's choosing his team to win it. I just want to know my team is good.
I heard that.
We want to thank you for jumping out there first, accepting the invitation, man, as you always do. You're always right there, man. So I appreciate you, and I thank you. That's why I be giving you them secrets every now and then.
Hey, I appreciate it, and Johnny, you and I go way back, and from when you were at Tennessee State and I was with the Titans, and then you come to Alabama State and laying the blueprint and the foundation for us to win the championship. And then when I was broadcasting the games, when you won the championship at Texas Southern, I still have that reel when I did that Texas Southern Grambling game. And I think that's the game that actually clinched the West for you guys. And with the hobo offense. So that was a lot of fun. So I always enjoyed watching you, man. So I appreciate y'all having me on.
Appreciate you, Coach. Well, great. We're going to start off, Coach, man. Look, it's football time in Alabama. And you don't came in you're at your third year, and you got your Hornets, man. You got your Hornets buzzing, and everybody excited about this year. What about you? Where you are with where you are as a program?
Yeah, so I'm excited about it. I think the beginning of football season, kind of like you said in the intro, we have had a lot of kids up here. A couple of them we haven't seen in a while. But it's so exciting. I think every team in the country, every SCS Division I high school, everybody's coming in with the same optimism. Everybody has some strengths and some weaknesses that you want to work on. And the biggest thing, like you said, is as I'm going through my situations today, I have 20 situations. We have to cover every situation in practice before the first game. Because as a coach, the worst thing that can happen is, we didn't cover backed up from the 2-yard line, and then all of a sudden we're backed up from the 2-yard line and we give up a safety. Well, that's not the player's fault. That's my fault. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't cover the situation. So I'm just trying to cover every situation and just give the kids a good chance and put them a chance to win. And so, but we're excited about it. I think we're going to have a good team. I don't know if we're going to have a championship team. I know we'll have a good team, and hopefully we can take that next step to have a championship team. And I told the kids, it's a difference between a good team and a championship team. It's another level that you have to execute at.
That's right, Coach. And all hands on deck, as we would say.
Yes, sir.
Well, everybody is buzzing, Coach, about the new quarterback, Andre Body. And Scotty would say, "Body."
Yeah. Yeah. So I always give him a hard time. I do the same thing. The Andrew Body. So Scotty's hyped him up, and they're good friends, and that's his biggest fan for sure. But he's really come here in the spring and the summer, and just a great kid. I mean, he's the type of kid, I say this because I don't have a daughter, but he's the type of kid you want to date your daughter. And he's that type of kid. He's just a great person in the locker room, great around campus, just truly a leader. And I think that does contribute to the type of things that happens off the field. And off the field contributes to the things that happens on the field. And his kids have to believe in you. So I think he's went out there and worked hard, like the rest of the players have. And so he's earned their respect. And that's what you want from the quarterback position. And so we're excited to have him get out there and compete and try to get some W's on the board. And that's the expectation.
Well, Coach, again, you're coming into your third year, and most of the time, this is the critical year. This is the year to say, man, we there, or we're not there. The biggest thing is your hat. Your hat should be one of the top teams in the conference, if not winning the whole thing. Where you think you at as far as personnel-wise. I know you made a big change on your coaching staff. Probably want to talk a little bit about your offensive staff and what you guys going to be doing different this year.
Yeah, so I feel with us, everything starts up front. The defensive line and offensive line. I think at any level of football, to me, the defensive line is crucial. If you can't stop the run and can't pressure the quarterback, nothing else you're going to do is going to work. And I think the teams that have been successful, the teams that I've been on that have been good teams, the Alabamas when they've won the championship, the Georgias when they won the championship, Jackson State just a couple years ago. Everybody had a really good D-line, FAMU last year. And so we're pretty deep at the defensive line position, and those guys are going to have to carry us. And so we have some new guys who are going to play for the first time, some young guys who are going to play. And I think if our defensive line can be what we expect, then our defense will be good. And I'm a guy, Coach Markham always told me, if you can't kick, you can't win. So we start with special teams, and then from there we go to defense and then offense. And like you said, a couple changes with the offensive coordinators and some new guys in the room. And so it's good to have a fresh voice. The kids are picking up on it. Coach Barnett coming over from Winston-Salem State, and then the long time he spent at A&T, and that's how I was familiar with him. I think he's going to really put something together for us. And Coach Brown, the offensive line coach, and Coach Carr, who's a former student athlete and part of the championship team here at Alabama State, and Coach Glover, the wide receiver coach. And so I think those guys have come into the room and put a little excitement in there. And then Ronnie Scott, another young guy, a defensive back who was a GA and a former student here, former Magic City Classic MVP. So he's coming over as our secondary coach. And so we're looking forward to getting those guys into the room. And the team chemistry is really good with the coaches and with the players. And so now we have to make the practice a stressful situation. So that's my job as the head coach, to create stressful situations so we can bond together, and hopefully anything that we may encounter in the game, we can encounter it in practice and work through it.
Yeah. Hey, one more question, Coach, and I'm going to turn over. One of the things about you, Coach, coming in and taking over the program and talking to Coach Chennis Bear, and both of y'all had one of those things in common, is when you reach back, you called me, call my brother, talk to other coaches that had been there. Of course, Coach Markham, who you played for. How important that is for you or was it important to you that when you came in, you was like, hey, I need to search guys that have walked this pathway. Chennis Berry told us about Buddy Pugh. I know you got a lot of aspirations about Markham. Tell us how important that is. And this, I guess, to our young coaches that are looking to be a head coach one day, how important is not to take the coach that you take in his place an enemy, or you don't want to talk to him. How important that is to you, and how to have that help you as a head coach?
Yeah, I think it's huge. And I think in anything in life, to me, you have to have a mentor. Like, this is no sense making the same mistake that the guy made before you, so and that's the biggest thing. And for me, Coach Frazier was the guy that I really reached out to. Really good friends. One of my fraternity brothers was there when he took the job at Prairie View, and have been friends with him for even before that, when he was at Bowie State, when I was still playing in NFL. And so he's the guy. My first year, it was a constant, hey, man, what's going on? We had a lot of unique situations that happened that first year. And so I had to reach out to somebody. He was the guy. Also, Coach DeAndre Clark, who was on my staff the first year. He's a former head coach. Coach Ruffin was a former head coach and has started the program over at down at Edwards Waters and Benedict. So those are guys that I reached out to and still do. I mean, I still reach out to guys. I'm smart enough to know that I'm not the smartest guy in the room. So I try to bring people in the room that know more than me. Coach Barlow, who's coaching up with the Defenders now, former head coach here and also at Virginia State, still reach out to him. So he knows if he's watching the game after the game, or he's calling the game, I'm hey, coach, what you thought? Like, where could I have improved at? So I mean, you can't be out here thinking that you know everything and have all of the answers, because the game will humble you. And so no matter how good you think you are, how much you know, you can always learn something from somewhere else. I went to a quick story. I went to the NFL quarterback symposium, not this year, but last year. And so I'm sitting in there talking with Leslie Frazier and those guys, and Leslie Frazier was doing the stuff. It's really for quarterbacks and offensive coordinators to try to move them up to become head coaches in the NFL. So all of the names there, Willie Simmons, all of the name guys are there. A lot of NFL guys are there. So they're doing a mock interview, and Leslie's actually interviewing some of the quarterback coaches in the NFL to teach them how to interview to be an offensive coordinator. So I'm sitting in there like, all right, well, I'm gonna go with Leslie, because I'm never going to interview to be offensive coordinator. And so, yeah, man, just come here, sit in here, really cool guy, SWAC guy. And so I'm just writing down the questions that he's asking those NFL quarterback coaches as if he was doing a mock interview. So I'm like, all right, well, that's cool. So this year, not knowing to me, all of a sudden I replaced my offensive coordinator. So I said, man, let me flip back to that page, and I asked those exact same questions that Leslie asked those guys. You know what I'm saying? And so, and then Ron Rivera had the same thing. Hey, man, you got to get a coach and mentor. And so that really taught me the importance of, you can learn something in every situation, no matter what meeting I go to. I may think it's totally not interesting, but I'm going to learn something from everybody I listen to. And if you get to the mindset that you're not learning anymore as an adult, then I think that's when you really stagnate in your growth and your development. So.
Okay.
All right. All right, Coach. I just want to ask you something real quick, and then I'll swing it to the Rattler. Coach,
Okay.
You hung your hat these past 2 years that you were the head coach. In my opinion, you guys hung your hat on tough defense and the ability to run the football. Everyone knows you guys have Andrew Body in the quarterback room now. With him being part of the equation now, do you think will your philosophy change at all? Your winning formula change at all?
Yeah, so it really does start with special teams. So when I say that, like, we have some special team only practices where I got that from Jeff Fisher. Like, our third or fourth day, the emphasis of that whole day will be special teams. So first and foremost, we have to have the very best special teams in the conference. We have to be top 10 in the nation. So we have to kick in order for us to win. And so, but after that, yeah, defensively, we have to be stout again. We have to create the turnovers. Offensively, I felt like our Achilles heel the last 2 years that we weren't explosive enough. We could run the football consistently and make plays, but it's hard to have 8 or 10 play drives just from the standpoint you make a mistake. The defense practice too. They'll make a sack, you'll get a penalty, something will happen. So for us, I think Body can get us into that position where we can be more explosive. And then the players, like, I'm challenging my wide receivers, I'm challenging my running backs. I need somebody who can beat somebody. We can't block all 11. So we block 9. You got to make one person miss, and then I need an 80-yard touchdown. So we have to be more explosive. And I say that not just from the quarterback position, but he has to put us in situations where we can be more explosive offensively so we can score from long range and get those big chunk plays of 50-plus yards. Because it's going to be hard pressed for any team to continue to drive, 8, 10, 12 plays and expect to have a good result. The defenses are just too good, in my opinion.
Coach, good evening. This is your great 88 brother. Like I told you, I'm a big fan. I got a little joke for you at the end, but I'm going to start with something serious. Right. Coach, I've always talked about when we were in school, and I'm going to keep reminding people, you are an HBCU national champion. You in 1991, you went 11-0-1. I remember that. I was in school. So with that being said, Coach, and the coach that I know you are, I know this team has championship aspirations. And I want to set this up. Jackson State 2 years before, they were a heavy favorite. They knew what they wanted to go was to get to Celebration Bowl. Coach Simmons talked about last year, and all the fan base, it was Celebration Bowl or bust. This is what our goal is. So, Coach, with you being picked number 1 in the East, a lot of people picking you to win the SWAC, a lot of people picking you to win the Celebration Bowl. What has that done for you as talking to your players, understanding to keep the main thing, but also letting them know that you understand this goal and this trek that you're about to go on because you've done it yourself?
Yeah. So, and I think it's not a sense of desperation, but you have to have a sense of urgency. So our word this year as a team is intentional. So everything we have to do has to be intentional. And so what people don't know is the year before my junior year, we beat Jackson State and we beat Grambling. And we also didn't win the SWAC because we lost to Southern on the last second missed field goal. And we also lost to Texas Southern at home when our guy put 1 second on the clock so they could kick a field goal. I'm still bitter about that. So had we won either one of those games, we would have won the SWAC my junior and senior year. And so, but when we got into our senior year, we had a lot of, Ricky Jones, Reggie Brown, a lot of great players, but we were all seniors. So the summer it feels the same of how this summer feels right now, where we had a sense of, hey, we have to win now because we're seniors. We didn't win my junior year, but we had won the last 8 games my junior year. So we went into our senior year feeling like if we don't win the SWAC and go to the Celebration Bowl, is nothing else would do. And so, and I think the kids have that same sense of we have to go out there and be intentional, and we want to go out there, and that's our goal. It's our goal to win the championship, and I think everybody else has that same goal. And the fact that we'll talk about it. We come together Thursday, and I'll give my PowerPoint. I'll talk about what I feel like it's going to take for us to win the championship. And after that, and we put that talk to bed. Then it comes to win each day. So we know we have to go out there and win the Friday practice. We can't focus on the big picture. All we can do is win Friday, then win Saturday, then win the week, and then go into the first game and just try to go 1-0. And so that's our goal, and that's going to be the message. It's a great goal. We want to get there. But if you don't win Friday, then there's no way you're going to win and beat North Carolina Central if you can't win the practice days and stack good days on top of each other.
Now, Coach, I look at your team. You had a lot of players, 4 on defense, first team all SWAC. I believe you had 2 on offense, return specialists, and then a couple of guys all SWAC on the second team. So that lets me know that people believe that you have a talented team. What have you told, especially the defense, that see this in light, but somebody who has done it, what have you told that defense is not to read the press clippings, but make sure, like you said, play every day? Because that is very impressive to have that many players. And I'll say this too, that is also foreshadowing, because I think the last 3 SWAC champions have had the most players in all SWAC, and I believe you have that this year. So what do you also tell those players that when they see these press clippings, people are patting them on their back also before the season?
Yeah, well, what I tell them is, we all have personal goals. I have my personal goals. There's nothing wrong with every person on the team having a personal goal. I encourage our kids to set personal goals, but at the same time, your personal goal can never be put ahead of the team goal. So the team goal has to be first, and then you achieve your personal goal. Once the team rises and elevates to a certain level, everyone moves up with the ship. And so that's what they have to realize, is that you put your personal goals second, and everybody accomplishes the team goal. And this just makes sense. And I tell them, I say, for you guys that want to be all conference, you want to get looked at by NFL scouts, et cetera, win the SWAC championship. Because usually the team that wins the SWAC gets the most players. I thought, our kid Bubba Adams, who led the FCS in tackles his junior year, had a great year his senior year. He was all conference both years, but he didn't win defensive player of the year. Aubrey won it as his junior year because, Jackson State won the conference. Major won it last year, linebacker from FAMU, had a great year, and he won player of the year because they won the conference. So we have a guy that Cunningham and also Rico transferred from Pine Bluff. I think both of those kids are good enough to be defensive player of the years, but hey, if you don't win the conference, then don't expect those awards. So you have to put the team goals first, and then your individual accolades will come second. So as long as we keep preaching that team first, then I think we'll have a successful season, and hopefully at the end, everybody will achieve what they set out to achieve.
All right, Coach. I'm gonna let Rocky take it back, but I'll come back. I got another little question one of my friends told me to ask you, but I'm gonna let Rocky get it back at it. I'll get back at you before the end.
All right, Coach. I see. I'm looking over your schedule, Coach, and the thing that sticks out to me on your schedule before you even get to conference, actually the very first game of the season in Miami, and I'll actually be in the building. So, Coach, I'll get a chance to lay my eyes on you guys. With Trey Oliver and the NCCU, what do you expect to find out about your team on that Sunday afternoon on national television?
Yeah, I think the MEAC has been doing a great job of being very physical. If you look at the last couple of celebration bowls, they've been physical. And even in the MEAC SWAC, we played Howard a couple years ago, a big physical team. And so I think that's what they're bringing to the party. So, and I tell our kids, my philosophy is that we're going to be the toughest and most physical team. We're going to play nasty, and we're going to play, knock your nose off football. And I think that's the only way you can play it. We're going to use the fullback. We're going to come downhill. We're going to test your manhood. That's my philosophy. And so, but when we go down to Miami, we're going to see if that's going to be our identity, because your philosophy may be one thing. That's what you think. Your identity is what you are. And so it's going to be a great job for us to go down there and prove that we can be physical versus a physical team. And we don't worry about the score. We just want to go out there and play physical football. We want to play downhill and old school SWAC football. Don't throw many flags. Let us be physical. We're not going to ask for no favors, and we're not going to give you none. And let's just see who's the most physical team. And we want that to be our identity throughout the whole year. But like I told the kids, that we have to practice that way. That could be my philosophy. That could be their rah-rah speech. But at the end of the day, you got to go out there and be willing to knock somebody in the head again and again and again and again and again.
And so, Coach, is it rare for the two teams that are preseason favorites for the SWAC and the MEAC to play the first game of the season? Many media outlets have picked NCCU. Of course, you know that you guys are picked as the favorite in the East, and historically the East has, recently won the SWAC championship. And I was just wondering, is that kind of game, does it usually happen this early in HBCU football?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those matchups. I mean, this game was set and everything was put into place long before the rankings came out. We lost players. We hadn't transferred in body. We hadn't. So it was nowhere. Nobody could have predicted what the rosters would be like, what the expectations of other coaches leaving. I'm sure if Willie Simmons hadn't left FAMU, they would probably be picked to win the East. So it's just one of those situations that kind of fell in place. But it's a good matchup. I think it's two good teams. Coach Oliver's doing a great job at his alma mater. Of course, they beat Jackson State, won the national championship 2 years ago. Last year, they were just, a couple plays away from getting there with one loss. So, I mean, they're a good, solid team, and they know how to win, and they're a championship team. And so I think whenever you're playing a championship team, that they've been through some tough moments. They've been through some adversity. They have overcome it. They have confidence in themselves. They feel like that they can win again. So for us, it's going to be a great challenge to go down there and compete against a good team. And the good thing is they will expose our weaknesses. So we will know what we need to work on. And I'd rather find that out right off the bat from day one. Hey, what do we have to get better at? We're not going to play a perfect game. They're going to show us some things that we have to improve on. But the one thing I don't want to have to improve on is being physical. Everything else we can correct. But if you're not going to go down there and be physical, then why are you playing the game?
Yeah. With all this NIL and transferring back and forth and cross, Coach, where are you at as far as recruiting? I know you lost some players. We've seen some players who graduated, and you lost some players, a big-time wide receiver. I know we talked about. But when we came out there in the spring, Coach, you had over 90 players. That's unusual for a 1AA program. How you feel about your recruiting and how you guys went about putting people where you needed them at?
Yeah, well, the good thing is we don't have a shortage of players. I mean, we're in an area. I was talking with the Kiwanis Club today. Here, me and Coach James Williams here in Montgomery, and the guy was asking, "Hey, how you doing recruiting Montgomery?" We start by recruiting the local area first, the River region. Coach Billy Gresham was my special team coach. Played here, was on the championship team, has been coaching at Alabama State for a long time, linebacker, all-conference guy. And I tell you, if you name a person, a player in the River region that's halfway decent, Coach Gresham knows the high school we went to, probably knows the parents. And so we do a great job of recruiting the local area. But if you put a 4-hour circle, 4 to 5 hour drive around Montgomery, and that's us. That's where we recruit. Birmingham, Mobile, Huntsville, New Orleans, Memphis, Atlanta. So that's our area, Jackson, Mississippi. And so for us, we're able to find some really good football players. We have some really good walk-ons that have come on and played well for us. And so for us, I still like the transfer portal, but we try to get more of the older kids in the transfer portal. But we've signed 18 freshmen on scholarship this year and the year before. We bring in about 30 freshmen between the walk-ons and the scholarship kids. So every year we're going to bring in 25 to 30 freshmen, and we're going to build the team with guys who have come here, who've done freshman orientation. They know about the Marion 9. They know the fight song. They went through all of this from day one of being a Hornet. I think you need those type of kids to still really build the program, and then you mix in some transfer kids along the way.
Yeah. Go ahead, Coach Campbell.
Now, Coach, here's the thing that I found interesting when I was looking at your schedule. How did you work it that 9 out of your 12 games are in the state of Alabama? Now, Coach, come on now. How did you plan that to have 9 out of your 12 games in the state of Alabama? And how important is that you're playing so close to home that they'll have a lot of your fans be in all your games?
Yeah, that's what I told the guys at the Kiwanis Club. We're Montgomery's D1 program. And so, we know that there's a pretty good team in Auburn. There's a good one in Tuscaloosa. And you have Jacksonville State and Troy and all those schools. But in Montgomery, we're Montgomery's D1 program. And the good thing is, like you said, 9 of our games are in the state. 6 of them are at home. 2 are in Birmingham and 1's in Mobile. So that's within 2 hours one way, 1 hour the other way. So you can get to all of our games on a tank of gas, and the box lunch. And so, and that's big because, we want our home fan base. So Dr. Cable, our AD, did a great job of making the schedule. But it's a good schedule. But if you look at it, you have Alcorn, who's picked to finish first in the West, Prairie View, who's picked to finish second, Grambling, who's picked to finish third. And so we have some tough games. Jackson State and FAMU at home who are right there with us. Is, you know, all of us are kind of clumped in the East. So we play all of the big boys in the conference. And then of course we play Sanford, who's going to be a good out of conference matchup. They traditionally do well in the FCS playoffs. And so then Tuskegee, who, you know, that's Tuskegee, that's Turkey Day Classic. And then Miles College, the Division II school, but they beat us last year. So we have to step up to the challenge with that. So every game is going to be an exciting week. And so we have to get our kids ready for weekends. So every week has to be a championship week. And so you look at last year and the year before, it was a game here or a game there that we was in that we didn't win. You know, last year was the loss to FAMU. The year before it was the loss to FAM and Jackson. So we were a game away here or there from really getting to where we want to be. So now we have to put it all together, have that sense of, you know, everything has to be intentional. You know, and we can't just go out there to practice. We got to practice with intent of getting better every day. And that's the fun part of this time of year, that you can really preach that to the kids and they see you every day as no school for a couple of weeks and just go out there and keep working.
Yeah. You know, to have Alabama A&M. Well, let me go look at the schedule. Jackson State, Prairie View, FAMU, and Alcorn, all in the state of Alabama, which is probably the top 4 or 5 teams in the league. You have all those guys in the state of Alabama. I'm sure you're looking for the fans to come out. And like I say, we were at the spring game. And what I was impressed with the spring game is the atmosphere that you guys created for that spring game. It was almost like a game type atmosphere. How much of a home field advantage do you expect your stadium to be this upcoming year?
Yeah, we want to get it to, and I tell you, you have to tip your hat to them, man. FAMU does a great job with their home field advantage. That is a tough place to play.
Man,
I mean, you got Coach. I got to give it to them. And so, going down there and what they say, the highest of 7 hills. I haven't counted the other 6. Next time we go down there, I'm gonna count all of them, see where they at. But I mean, that is a great college atmosphere. Probably one of the best in all of FCS. And probably rivals most of the group of 5 schools too, a group of 4, whatever they change it to. So, but for us, I mean, we have to get it to that level, and our fans are really coming out. I mean, they're getting it. The Mighty Marching Hornets, our band is big in that, the whole aspect of it. Cheerleaders, it has to be. When I say swarm is one, it has to be the whole community. Everybody has to come out and support us. And then some of the biggest games are at home. And so we're looking forward to defending our house. And that has to be our message. And we have to go out there and really start something special at home. We've kind of lost some tough games at home. So now we got to turn that corner where we can be a dominant team at home. And then, of course, the Magic City Classic, that's the big one. And people say, hey, I'm not afraid to say, what's the biggest game of the year? Magic City Classic. Well, you play Central this year. Magic City Classic is the biggest game of the year. So I don't care what it. Wherever we're playing, the Magic City Classic is the biggest game. And as soon as we finish that game before the Magic City, then it goes to the bye week, we immediately get into the Magic City Classic, because that is just a fun 2 weeks of football. And Coach Maynard does a great job with A&M, and everybody just comes out in the city of Birmingham. So we have some great games on the schedule, but I tell anybody, if you could pick one game, go to the Magic City Classic.
Yeah. Well, this is a running joke because we got a Florida A&M man. So when you said that, oh man, I
gotta give him credit.
That's my AA brother. See, we keep it honest between each other. See, like I say, Coach know what it is. Coach know I know his record, so he just give respect back. That's all.
Yeah, that's man. They do a great job. So and I don't know. They keep talking about they're gonna get a new stadium. I hope they do, because I can imagine what the atmosphere would be like then. But they do a great job. I look forward to going back there the year after this one, because it was such a great atmosphere. I hadn't been there in quite some time, and I was like, man, this is pretty cool. It's like the fans are right up on you. They're aggravating now. There's some aggravating rattlers down there, but you got to go down there and have your mind right.
Yeah, I've been down in there where they strike.
Oh, they do all of that. Yeah, they put you in they put you in the small locker room with no heat. I mean, no air conditioning. It's like they got all the tricks down there, man.
I was there when Coach Humphreys was the president. He actually led the chant when I was there. So
absolutely.
Everybody loved Coach Humphrey. I mean, President Humphrey.
Yeah.
Coach, a question was asked last night with Chennis Berry. I guess we'll throw it on to you to make it fair, since we're interviewing you too, and that's supposed to be the rules. If you beat Jackson State and Florida A&M and get to that Magic City Classic and lose. And coach, now you 9 and something now. You don't won a lot of games, and you lose that Magic City Classic. Is it a possibility? Not saying you personally, but a coach that in that situation and lose that Magic City Classic, and he 9 and something, he could be out of there.
Hey, it's one of those games. I joke with everybody, because at some point I tell people I'm the 30th head coach at Alabama State, and so I'm an alumnus. So when it's my time to pass the baton, I want to make sure that the team and the school is in the better hands than the way I found it. And so when I write that note to the next coach, and I'm gonna tell them, hey man, look in that inside door, in that inside drawer, I got one piece of advice for you. And that note gonna say, win the Magic City Classic. Don't worry about nothing else. Win the Magic City Classic. You'll figure out everything else, my son. But win that Magic City Classic.
What team we were talking about last night? What team we was talking about?
He was talking about actually your rival, Alabama A&M. Yeah. If they had won in those games and lost the game. So, Coach, that's why that question kind of came up. And like you said, how big? Coach, I tell you what. You know what I think. I know you talked about it, but for a lot of people, you hear about the Bayou Classic. You hear about the Florida Classic. Why don't you tell people, because really that is a tried and true Alabama game, how big that classic is in the Magic City and how many people actually attend that game and what that really is. I think a lot of people don't know about that, Coach.
Yeah, so I've had the privilege. I mean, I grew up in New Orleans. So my dad graduated from SUNO. So we were 100% Southern fans. And my dad worked at the Superdome from the day it was open, until I was playing in the NFL. So I've been to Super Bowls, Final Fours, but we would go to the Bayou Classic every year. So that was just an annual event. It was without fail, the Bayou Classic. Southern had the great band, but Coach Eddie Robinson would beat us up every year. So, but it was a great experience, right? So when I come to Alabama, I've never been to the state of Alabama. I've never even heard of the Magic City Classic. This Magic City Classic, man, this thing is, I'm like, well, man, I'm Bayou Classic 100%. So even as a freshman, when I played it, I was like, man, and in Legion Field, you have the 2 lions in front of Legion Field. They used to have the light towers up there. It's the old gray lady, the old steel structure. This is a old school stadium, right? And so I think just going there and the upgrades that they made is just so much fun. But for people who don't know now, they open it up on Wednesday. So people start tailgating on Wednesday. When we go up there for the press conference on Wednesday, people are already parked out there getting ready for the game on Saturday. And most of them, they didn't attend Alabama State or Alabama A&M. They're just the Birmingham people just come out and support that game. It's almost like the big fair classic down there in Dallas. It's just a whole part of the environment of what they do. And then after the game and you're getting into the bus, you're leaving, and they're going back to the tailgate. Like nobody leaves Saturday. They stay till Saturday night, and then they don't leave till Sunday. So when I was broadcasting the ESPN games, one of my best experiences at a college football game was able to get paid by ESPN to broadcast the Magic City Classic. I was like, man, this is unfair. Like I am stealing money right here. And so you broadcast the game, and after the game, they move the stage onto the field. Frankie Beverly has a concert. It was one of my favorite guys. I've probably seen Frankie Beverly like 20 times. So you're singing Frankie Beverly, and Frankie ends, and then you go, there's a big tent, and then you go to the tent. Now people are just tailgating at the tent. Man, you stay there till like midnight. It's like everything just goes on at that one game. So it's just a great atmosphere, and it's one of the true spectacles in college football I think everybody should enjoy. So
yeah, I appreciate that, Coach, because I think a lot of times, especially we've got a new fan base that has come, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. Because like you had to tell people you are SWAC. You had to let people know that. But we had a lot of people that are non-SWAC that are watching the SWAC. You're a legend, Coach. You're a legend.
So that's the reason I want to explain it. That was an emotional moment. So people, and I look at it and I was like, man, Johnny, y'all know as coaches, man, you get into the heat of it. And I know when I played in the NFL, people were like, man, how you walk around, man, all that anger and aggression, and people don't realize is no way you can be that guy every day. Like I can't be an NFL linebacker. I mean, I would get arrested. I'd get thrown out of Kroger's, out of the grocery store. And so what happens when it comes to like Friday night, Saturday morning, you start getting the adrenaline going, and it starts. And I mean, you on a high. And so, and then after the game, it takes a while. Like I've played NFL games, a whole game. Like I'm dead tired, but I cannot sleep at night. Like it takes. I mean, it's like you've been in a fist fight. And so coaching is the same way. And that was a very emotional game. And it's like after the game, it takes you a while to get yourself down to be a normal person again. So it's like it's just all that emotion was just boiling over. But I think that's why you coach the game. That's why I played the game. Football is such a great sport because you got so many people that have to come together for a common cause, and you have to be unselfish with it. And there's no guarantees. I think that's why everybody goes out to watch it, because it doesn't matter how good a team you are, how much you've prepared. Sometimes you have a great week of practice. The bus ride was great. The meal was great. And the ball, you lost by 30. You're like, man, what happened? It's just, and other times you like, man, I don't know how we going to win this game. And then you win by 30. You're like, whoo, man, we played them tomorrow. They would beat the crap out of us, but we won today. So it's like, football is one of those sports, man. It's like life. Like you wake up in the morning and you do everything right and you try to prepare, but there's no guarantees. You just have to go out there and work hard each day. And what we say, is this the beginning of a new day? We say the Hornet Creed every morning. And we know no matter what happened the day before, you got to erase the board and get back with it. So it teaches you so much about life. If you can get through a college football season for 4 or 5 years with the ups and downs, you are very much prepared for anything that life can throw you.
Well, first of all, Coach, you were right. Forget what everybody else said. He ain't SWAC. We SWAC. Let's get that straight. Now, he did a great job here. He did a great job at SWAC. But he ain't SWAC, Coach.
Hey.
Look, we don't eat them meals. We don't roll buses. We don't live in the dormitories. That's
yeah.
SWAC. All right? Hey, Coach, look. Hey, man. You started something there, boy. And I remember talking to you, and you just like, I don't think people knew why it wasn't about who won the game. It was from, I remember talking to you. You was like, Cole, do you understand this cat walked through our line down the other way? See, nobody heard the whole story.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, you don't do that in the SWAC.
Well, then it's certain things, like it's just, certain HBCU traditions that I give you a perfect example. So we play Jackson State. It's their homecoming, right? So we win the game. Great game. Both teams competed. We got them at the end, but it was a great football game, right? So, Jackson State's locker room, when you come out the locker room, you're right on the field. So, it's the sonic boom. They're walking, and for me to get to our bus, they already had cut me off. So as a SWAC guy, I'm not cutting through the sonic boom. So I'm going to sit there and wait and let the band. It's certain things you don't do. You know what I'm saying? I don't do that. So I just sat back and watched. And it was so funny. A kid that I coached in baseball when I was at Sunnyside Park back in Houston, and I coached like 10 years with my son and all of them. And I hear this voice like, Coach Eddie. It's one of my base. I'm saying, who's calling me Coach Eddie? That's the little kids used to call me that. And so it's the kid, Malcolm, who dad went to Prairie View. Now he's playing the tuba at Jackson State in the sonic boom. And I'm like, whoa, Malcolm, what's up? So, but it's like, I knew not to walk through, and some of my players were walking out. I say, hey, man, you got to let the band go first. And then after that, then we can get to the bus. It's just certain traditions that you understand. You don't cut through the band. You don't cut through the frat lines. You don't cut through the sorority line. It's certain things you don't do when you're on the HBCU campus. But you wouldn't know that unless you SWAC, right? Yeah. So that's the whole point.
Referees know, Coach. The referees know that the band gonna make the teams come out late.
Every time.
Right. That's SWAC.
Right.
The band gonna play. The game ain't gonna start on time.
Nope.
And they'll throw a flag, and both coaches be like, "No, we ain't calling no flag on no band now."
Nah, we ain't doing that.
Well, I'm glad you had a chance to explain that, Coach. Because me, though my daughter goes to Prairie View, I'm not an HBCU guy, and what I thought you were saying was something totally different than what you've explained today, Coach. And I got a chance to meet you in person, and you guys invited us over to the reception after the game, and I was just completely surprised at how much of a nice man you are, because just judging you off of that encounter right there, Coach, I didn't know what to expect when I finally met you.
Now that guy can't come out all the time, so I kind of save him for game day. And if I tell people that it's the same way when you're playing in the NFL, that same level of enthusiasm. You cannot be that guy every day of the week. Like you can't go to the grocery store and want to skip the line and be so you can't. But I think playing in the NFL, man, it's like we would watch film, and keep in mind, like Steve McNair, he had a tattoo that said SWAC on his arm, 100% SWAC guy, right? Brother was a SWAC guy, you know what I'm saying? So, but when we would watch film, and this is when every team had 5, 6 SWAC guys on the team, or at least an HBCU guy. So when we're watching film and the whole team is in there, and I see Jimmy Smith score a touchdown, I'm in the back of them, hey, that's SWAC right there. And so, oh man, so if I saw another SWAC guy after the game, Michael Strahan, man, what's up, SWAC? So we called each other SWAC. And if you was an HBCU guy, we allowed you to say I'm SWAC also, because the SWAC was the top conference back then, right? So, and the point is, we may have had another guy like, hey man, I'm SWAC. Nah, you not SWAC. So it was not about you're coaching at a SWAC school and you're not SWAC. You obviously coach at a SWAC school, so you're part of the conference and did a great job while you were there. But the bigger picture was the history of like Coach like Johnny Cole said, man, you didn't ride that bus. I mean, just think about it. You rode a bus, and Coach had the longest road trip was from Alabama to Texas. So those are the schools that had the furthest trips. So yeah, you got on that bus on Thursday morning or Thursday night to drive all the way to get to Houston, and had to play a game on Saturday, and then got back on the bus. And this was when the speed limit was 60 miles an hour. Right. So it took you a good 12 hours. Then you had to catch that bus all the way back and be at school on Monday morning. So that's SWAC, right? You know what I'm saying? You had to earn the right to be called SWAC. And I think, but it made us stronger people. And now, we fly to Miami, we fly to Grambling, we fly to Houston. So I tell the kids that I'm so glad that they get everything that we didn't have. Like, we worked hard and went through that, and the Marino Chasms and all those guys, they fought at the NCAA meetings for us to get all of the rights and privileges that we have now as coaches, as a conference, and Dr. McClellan, who's doing a great job as a commissioner. So now the kids, they have all of that. They have a celebration bowl game that they can go to at the end of the season. So, and that's what being SWAC is about, trying to build the legacies of the kids that's come can enjoy everything that we didn't have, and it's their job to do it. So to continue the history and traditions of the HBCUs and the SWAC conference. So
now, Coach, let me real quick right before we get out. Now, Coach, now this is just a rumor in the HBCU old head our age group. It was a rumor on the street that Eddie George, you and Steve McNair, he wanted to be a Q because of you and Steve McNair. Is that true? That true? Come on, that's true. Well, we were down to Cancun, and he wasn't. You didn't come down there, but Steve was. But I heard later on the reason why Eddie George is accused because of you and Steve McNair. That's what somebody told me to ask you, Coach.
Yeah, that probably has something to do with it. Him and Steve were really, really close. They were both on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah. And Eddie was a great teammate, and I tell people, both of those guys, the way I judge, I was blessed, but I took great care of my body. I missed one game in college and one game in the NFL. And the way I judge the NFL teammate is, were you going to be ready for Sunday? And Eddie George was one of those guys. Hey, man, I mean, he would limp in there. I'm talking about took a beating on Monday morning. But I said, E, man, how you looking? I'll be ready for Sunday. Steve McNair, same way. Steve, how you feeling? I got you, E. I'll be ready. So both of those guys, they rang the bell every Sunday. And I had so much respect for those guys because playing on the offense in the NFL, and back then, you're talking about Eddie would run the ball 25, 28 times a game. Steve McNair running quarterback sweeps, and he would run for 120 yards. So both of them guys were super physical. But yeah, I think the Omegas, there was another guy, Greg Favors, who plays at Mississippi State. So we had quite a few Qs on the team. And so, and Eddie was always, you know, watching, looking, and we had the little gold purple hat on. He'd see the cues after the game, and hey, man, I said, yeah, keep working, young whippersnapper. But I'm glad he's a good member of the fraternity, and he definitely deserved it, and we welcomed him. And so it's good, man. That's what part of the whole that HBCU life is, and people don't understand that for us, you know, being a member of fraternity or sorority on a Black college campus, it's not just the 4 years you're in school and you move on. Like I just went to the Grand Conclave in Tampa Bay just a month ago. You know what I'm saying? And all the Qs, Chennis Berry, Coach Frazier, you know, all of the coaches, Damon, all the coaches that were Qs was down there. So it's a lifelong commitment. So it's a little bit deeper ingrained of our commitment level to that, you know, to that purpose.
Yeah, Coach, I appreciate that. Yeah, one of my friends I'll have to tell you later, who told me to ask you that, but played on that team. He said, yeah, that's how Eddie became a Q. So yeah, so that was kind of funny. Yeah,
I'm sure we had some influence on that. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that.
Coach, let me ask you this question, Coach, because you as far as I know, your extensive experience in the NFL. But right before you got the Alabama State job, you weren't involved in football directly, right?
Absolutely.
So with your success that you've had as a coach in your first 2 seasons, what did you do when you were away from the game that prepared you to be a head coach of a Division I university?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm gonna tell you. So what really helped me was broadcasting college football games, and I'll tell you why. It kept me within the game, but then every game, and Johnny, you know, I would come to your practices, I would talk to you, I'm asking you about recruiting, I'm asking you about formations. So every week I got to interview 2 college football coaches. So think about it. I'm getting a wealth of experience and knowledge. And now at the time, I thought I would coach in the NFL. I felt like that was going to be my path, and I had more opportunities to coach in the NFL. But as my sons got older, I was like, well, I kind of chose my family over coaching at the time. So I didn't know if I would get another opportunity for it to come back around. And I was blessed, and it did happen with, you know, Dr. Ross giving me the opportunity to coach here. And so, but think about it, I'm broadcasting like 10 to 12 games a year. So I'm interviewing like 24 different head coaches with different philosophies of football. So not only that, so every game I'm basically analyzing the game, and I'm going through the scenarios because, you know, I did a lot of games with Charlie Neal. He was the play-by-play, but I'm the color commentator. So I'm giving my opinion, and I'm basically second-guessing the coach. Like, hey, man, the coach shouldn't have used the timeout right there. Yeah, man, in this situation, I would have went for 2. So to me, that really prepared me to be in the mindset of how to manage a football game. So the easy part for me was managing the football game. The hard part was more the administrative aspect of on the college campus of getting the stuff done and moving those parts. That's the part that I really had to learn. The football, I didn't have to learn. If it was just football, it would be so much easier. And so, but the other part of it is the kind of part that I had to actually take time to learn because I wasn't familiar with, you know, the inner workings of a college campus and higher ed, as they say. And so that's the part that I had to really put some time into.
Well, Coach, I know you know X's and O's, right? But what was the decision process going in? Did you envision yourself being a CEO head coach like you are, or did you want to be a play caller on the defensive or offensive end?
Yeah, so really, I thought I would be more of a linebacker coach because, you know, being in that linebacker room, you really get to have that's the one thing I'm envious about the coach. So they get to have a deep personal relationship with a group of 10 to 12 guys, you know, and those guys are all committed to being the very best group on the team. And so, and I know like Greg Williams, who was my linebacker coach, Gunther Cunningham, before he passed away, was my linebacker coach. I had some really good linebacker coaches who I still have personal relationships. O'Neal Gilbert was a coach who lives in Houston, who I still talk to because, you know, we were all invested together, and people don't realize at the NFL level, I remember year before we went to the Super Bowl, and linebackers, we didn't play good the first 3-4 games. You know, we didn't have any sacks. You know, we wasn't leading the team in tackles. You know, we ain't had no interceptions. So they working out 3 linebackers over there. So I'm like, we like, coach, oh, who they working out? Man, they working out linebackers. They're about to work out a coach too. We don't start playing better. It's like the NFL is like, they will cut you mid-season and have 3 guys working out at your position in front of your face. Like, all right, don't get this right this week. You know what I'm saying? So we all picked our level up. You know what I'm saying? So And so, what it did was it made us bond together. Like, hey man, we all in this together. Like, coach, we got to save your job. We got to save our own jobs. I don't think people realize how the NFL is such a business of if you don't get it done. It's not like college where you wait till the end of the semester. No, it's like next week you gone. Next guy gonna take your place. You miss 2 field goals. It's five kickers working out. So and so that's the part that I wish I could have. Now, I feel like I do a really good job of having relationships with everybody on the team, and some kids I'm really close to, but it's kind of hard for me to have that group of my 10 guys that I would be like lifelong friends with. That's the part that I do miss of not being a position coach. So
yeah, Coach, I tell you, we have parents watching us and probably some guys is coming up. Why should a kid or why should a parent or a family choose Alabama State to come play football?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, me and James Williams and my staff, Coach Sims, we believe more than anything of we're in the kid business. Like I'm not in the football business. So if we raise a strong man, if we can take your son and raise him into a strong man, then the football will take care of itself. The football will always work out. But if we don't have a personal interest in this kid to care about this kid, like if a kid has a speeding ticket, if a kid gets a young lady pregnant or something like that, I'm usually the first call. Like they'll call me and they're scared to call their parents, and so but we have to have that personal relationship. I'm a dad, counselor, uncle, parent. I'm all of those things before I get to be a football coach. And Coach Eddie Robinson said it best. You got to love them in order to coach them. Like you got to really love these kids and they have to trust you and know that you have their best interests in mind. And once you do that, then you can coach them. And the last reason I tell you, people ask me, how did I get to Alabama State? So really quick story. So Coach Dewey, who was a legendary coach at John McDonough High School, public school in New Orleans, then he was coaching at Southern. So like I told you, my dad did everything at the Superdome. So I'm at one of the Sugar Bowl Classics. Southern is playing. I'm not highly recruited. I'm gonna be a walk-on coming out of high school. So I'm talking to Coach Dewey, and he's like, "Yeah, you went to Brother Martin." And so I gotta get my Coach Dewey for it. He said, "So you went to Brother Martin, and that's a pretty good school. And where you going?" I'm saying, "I don't know, Coach. I'm looking at a couple schools." So his advice to me, he said, "Whatever you do, stay SWAC and stay black." So that rung with me. I don't know if it's 18 years old. I don't know if it, and I tell kids that today. Like when I go to St. Aug or those schools in New Orleans or in Birmingham, I tell those kids, "Hey man, whatever you do, stay SWAC and stay black." That means that if you don't come to Alabama State, go to a SWAC school. And if you don't go to a SWAC school, go to a HBCU. Like I have my oldest son graduated. He started at A&T, graduated from Alabama State. My middle son is at Prairie View. He started at LSU and ended up at Prairie View. He's about to graduate from Prairie View. And my youngest is at LSU now. And hopefully I can get him to switch back to HBCU. But it's just a great experience. And I think the friends that you meet along the way, and I guess what I tell people, if you go to a school out in just, Oregon, Washington, wherever, Michigan, whatever school, big school, small school, once you graduate, chances are PWI, you're not going back to too many homecomings. I mean, who's going to the Kent State homecoming, right? So, but if you go to Southern, Jackson State, Grambling, you're going to go back to that Jackson State Southern game. You're going to go back to that Mad City Classic. And you know what? Because you're part of the HBCU family, you're probably going to go to the Florida Classic. You're probably going to go to Howard homecoming. You're going to go to Prairie View homecoming. It's just part of the tradition of what happens. You become indoctrinated in the HBCU family, and it's more than just supporting your school. Like we love our schools. Like I love Alabama State, but I love Alabama A&M. I need them to do well, just like I need us. It's only one day out the year, last Saturday in October, where I hate Alabama A&M. Every other day, I'm rooting for them to do great also. And I think you become part of the HBCU family. I just don't think you get that, when you go to a PWI. And there's some great PWI schools, and they do a great job also. But at the same time, for the long-term relationship where you're going to want to send your kids to that school too, I just don't think you can miss going to a HBCU. That's just my opinion. It's been great for me. It's been working since I've been 18, so I'm not changing it. So.
Hey, Coach, we showing Rock all all the coaches back in 2021. Right? See, Rock is a PWI guy. He don't go back to homecoming, so he trying to get off on that.
So Coach, let's put him on the spot. Have you been to your homecoming in the last 10 years?
Absolutely not.
See that we go.
But hey, Coach, my daughter's a senior this year, and I definitely be at Prairie Views. I'll tell you that, Coach.
So you're gonna live, and I promise you this: she will not miss 10 years of Prairie View homecoming. I guarantee you, she will be going back to Prairie View homecoming, because that is an event. That is a great homecoming. So yeah.
So this is how me and Rocky kind of start mirroring our relationship. You know, he was coming from the PWI look, and I was trying to sell him SWAC look, you know, and the things about it. And he made some great points. You know, he was like, is football really important in the SWAC? And he made some great points, you know what I mean? So Rock, it's on you. You got your 2021 picture with all the coaches. You know, we switching coaches, Eddie, and you know, Eddie, back in the day, we were nothing like we are now.
Right.
Switching coaches. So Rocky, you found yourself.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring it up now. It's a funny picture, Coach. I don't think you're in it. SWAC Media Day picture, 2021. Are you in that picture, Coach?
No, I'm not in 2021. I came in 22.
Okay.
All right. So I didn't think you were in there. And oh man, let me bring it up. And oh man, let me get you would put me on the spot, Coach, but I'm gonna bring it up. And the fascinating, here you go. Here it is right here. Here it is. I got it. I'll share it with y'all. The fascinating thing about it, Coach, is that of course you're not in the picture, but there's a lot of other guys that aren't in the picture either.
That ain't there no more.
Yeah.
It's like it's a carousel now.
Yeah,
it's second longest coach behind my man
Coach Maynard. Yeah, so hopefully, I think the conference has just a.
that's the picture, Coach. And the only guy that's there is Coach Maynard.
Yeah, and so I think I think the SWAC has a great group of coaches right now, and I think everybody's committed to it. I think most schools have a lot of stability from the president to the AD. I think FAMU will be getting a new president, and I think that's the biggest part. And I mean, one thing in order to win, and you know, broadcasting, watching different teams, the way A&T built their team, the way Grambling was solid for those years, Coach McNair at Alcorn. I think consistency is where you have to go. If the president, the AD, and the coach can stay together and they genuinely all are supportive of each other, you have a great chance to win, just from the standpoint that other teams are going to have so much turnover. And I don't think people really realize that, fan bases, that, you know, hey man, be patient with guys. And so I think, you know, we all want to win right now. You know, we want to get it done. We want to win championships. We want to be great every year. That's my goal, is for, you know, Alabama State to be a consistent contender for a championship every year, and of course win some championships. And so, but you got to be patient with coaches, and unfortunately that's just not the way the world works right now. But I think on college campuses, the biggest tragedy to me, when you have a kid that's been through 3 coaches and he's been at one school, because that means there's been a lot of turnover. You know, you may go through 2 coaches, you know, coach may leave, coach may come. But when I hear kids, they say, yeah, I had 3 coaches and I was there 5 years, that's not good. That means there's too much stuff going on there, man.
Hey, Coach E-Rob, let me ask you this. Let me phrase this question this way. What do you think the guy that you refuse to hug has to do with all the coaching turnover in the conference right now?
I don't think that has much to do with it. I just think this in sports is just no patience. It's just everybody wants to win right now, and I think the transfer portal had people thinking that it was a quick fix. Like, you know, I wanted to win the championship my first year. I thought we had a chance to beat Jackson. We played them tough, and I thought we had a chance to beat FAM. You know, we lost. We lined up for a super long kick and missed the guy that blocked. And so, but yeah, my goal was to come in here and win my first year. And then my goal was, I definitely knew we could win the second year, but now, as you can see, it takes time to build a program for guys to understand that they're hearing my message. So now there's more guys on the team that they've heard my voice from since they were 18 years old, since they got out of college. They didn't hear it from another coach, and now they're hearing something different, or they started at this school and now they're hearing this voice. And so it's something about, Coach Markham said, do what's right because it's right. I heard his voice for so much. I'm still living by the same things he taught me as an 18-year-old kid. And so I think when you can start ingraining that into a whole team and that whole battleship is moving in one direction, I think that's how you have success over a long period of time. So you can't just say, hey, we're going to give a coach 2 years and he better get it done. It's just not realistic. I mean, we want it to be that way, but unfortunately it's not. It takes time to build a program and to catch up to some of the other schools, because if you have another coach that's been there 6, 7, 8 years, you got to catch up. I mean, he's coming into the season knowing what to expect. He has a rapport. He knows the referees. They know him. There's so many different aspects that you have to play catch up on. So, and it's just not something that's going to happen overnight.
So you don't think the Deion Sanders and his success at Jackson State created more impatience or more urgency in the conference? That's
it's hard to cut you off. I think from that standpoint of he came in and won fast, because they had the COVID year was 20, and I think the 21 year they came in and they won in 21 and 22. And so I think coming in right there, but I think he did a great job of bringing in some high level transfers, and then Jackson State is Jackson State, man. That's always one of the predominantly great jobs in SWAC football or in HBCU. So they're always going to have a chance to attract those type of players. And then, Deion Sanders is Deion Sanders. Like, who wouldn't want to play for Deion Sanders? I mean, he's still one of the generational great players in all of sports. I mean, he's right up there with Bo Jackson. You know what I'm saying? So it's Deion or Bo or Deion. Both of them played great in football, Hall of Famers, and great at baseball. It's not too many people can put that on their resume. The man played in Super Bowl and a World Series. So, he has that. So, that probably did rush the timetable because he did it. Everybody else is saying, hey, we can find that lightning in the bottle, as opposed to, hey, let's build a traditional program and let's be good over a period of 4, 8, 10 years, as opposed to trying to be good next year. So,
one of the things, though, and not necessarily in the winning right now, but more, so you start seeing more, especially HBCU colleges hiring guys with NFL experience. Not NFL experience as coaching, but NFL experience as players. All of a sudden, that was the model. Go out and get an NFL player, and then he's going to bring in all this money and all this money. And that's just not true. As you said, you're talking about Deion Sanders, 1 in a million. You know what I'm saying? And he already had all this advertisement stuff. All that came with it. And like Eddie said, if you know Jackson State, they never really just got in and just started losing. You know what I mean? They've always been winning. They always, attendance-wise, the best in 1AA football. So really, man, that was one of those nights that all 4 of us have had in our life. There did nothing go wrong. Everything right. We got in the party free. We met the top woman in the party. Everything went right. We was with the boys. Look, you was like, dang, or as in basketball, one of them nights, everything you threw up went in.
Yep.
And so when Deion and Jackson State met, man, it was.
Yeah, and I think it was one of those things you have to give, the AD Ashley, you have to give him credit for taking that chance. But it was one of those things that could have blown up in his face, but it was an outside the box move, and like you said, it hit. It was sensational. I don't think it could have went any better for Jackson State. You won 2 SWAC championships. You got Travis Hunter, a legitimate 5-star future NFL player. Probably the enrollment went up. Yeah, everything was perfect. Only thing you didn't do was win the Celebration Bowl, but everything else was just absolutely perfect. And it was one of those things. But you have to give the AD credit and the president credit for saying, hey, we're going to take a chance and hire a guy that was a generational talent. And this, That's the people were telling me when I first got the job, man, you ought to do the social media. You ought to have the people. I said, man, I cannot be Deion Sanders. This guy, he's been doing that since he was 18 years old. Primetime was long created. Like, I'm Eddie Robinson. They call me Steady Eddie. You know what I'm saying? So I'm probably the exact opposite of Deion Sanders. So for me to take a job and then all of a sudden I want to try to be Deion Sanders, that makes no sense. Like, what he does is great and fantastic. The Instagram, the social media, that's him. It works for him. And what I do works for me. And so, and everybody has to stay in their own lane. You have to be who you are. And so, I had to coach Alabama State from what Coach Markham taught me, from what I observed by watching W.C. Garden and those guys, and watching you, Johnny, and guys that I've seen, who I've touched, Coach Broadway, covering those guys, the Joe Taylor when I was covering Hampton. And so those are the guys that I've seen who had good, consistent work ethic day after day, night after night. Those are the type of the coaches that I emulated. So it didn't make sense for me to try to be the next Deion Sanders, because there's only one Deion Sanders. That guy has been prime time since he got to Florida State and has taken that to the NFL and beyond, to everything. That's him. That's his marketing image. That's what he brought to Jackson State. And I think guys make mistakes by sometimes saying, be the best you. Don't go out and try to be the best with the other guy. It's just be the best you, and it'll be more than enough. And so that's how I approached it.
Now, Coach, let me ask you this. I had an opportunity to be on campus this past spring. One of the things that I was really impressed by is that your facilities, your amenities at your stadium, it's really high level, right? So, in my opinion, Alabama didn't need the same thing that maybe Jackson State did, because you guys don't have substandard facilities. You guys don't have, you guys have what I would consider very nice facilities by any measure. How does that impress recruits when you get them on campus to see those facilities?
Man, it does. I mean, I think it's a testament to the leaders at the time, who put everything together for us to get that stadium. I know Elton Dean was one of those guys who pushed for a lot, and guys that was on the board of trustees, John Knight, a lot of guys who kind of pushed, probably spent money that we didn't have when we built it. And so, but I think it's one of those things that, HBCU wise and at the FCS level, we have the facilities to compete. And it's when I tell kids, hey man, just come on campus, you're gonna like what you see, and it allows us to recruit some of those Power 5 guys, because they realize, hey, you may not play in front of 50,000, but you're gonna play in front of a good 28, 30, 35,000. And when you go to the Mad City Classic, it's gonna be 55 to 65,000, another 100 outside. So it definitely does help. But at the same time, facilities can't win the championship. It's the players on the field. You got to get the players in there. You got to work them in. And my goal, my dream, my aspiration is for us to raise another banner in that stadium and to put a championship banner up in there. So that's what I tell the guys every day. It's like, it's a big, beautiful house, but now you gotta put some furnishings in there. You know what I'm saying? You gotta put your marble coffee table. You gotta win some championships to really bring it all together. And so for us to cement of where we want to be in the whole aspect of HBCU football and FCS.
Well, I want to piggyback on that too, as far as, you might not get 50,000, 60, 70,000 as PWIs get, but like Eddie said, you're going to get your 28, 30, and when we play in the big game, you're going to get your 50. But here's the difference. Here's the difference. At PWI, them 70, 80, and 100,000 fans, they go home or they go to their spots. You as a black player, now, where am I going? But when you go to a HBCU school, where those 40 or those 50, you go right where they go. You know what I mean? Yep. And you become the hero. And they love you for who you are, not necessarily that you're a football player. So I just want to piggyback off that, Coach. That was one of my recruiting lines. So,
absolutely, I'm gonna have to use that one. That's a good one, because
so that's how it is.
You know what I've learned, Coach, as being as a fan. I came to the SWAC and HBCU football for the football, but I've stayed for the people, and that's That's what makes this experience, this HBCU experience, so special. The football is great, don't get me wrong, but the people are absolutely phenomenal and amazing. And y'all got me. I know I don't have any HBCU diplomas, but man, I love being part of this community.
Hey, Eddie, I just told him, don't you say you SWAC.
No, I'm not.
Hey,
I'm not
don't
go
front.
I'm not going front.
Steve,
I'm not going front. But
we love you. We love you, Rock. You know we do.
Yeah, you have to host the show a couple more years. But now it's kind of funny. I know it's getting late, so I'm not gonna keep y'all all night. But I tell people, and I didn't go to either one of these schools, but if I have a chance to go to Jackson State Southern game on Southern's campus, and LSU is playing Georgia right across the Interstate 10, I'm going to that Jackson State Southern game because I know everything that's involved with that game. I'm going to have a great time at that football game. And once the game is over, I'm going to have even more of a better time of going back out to the tailgates, walking around, eating something, and I'm going to feel welcome and a part of it. And I think at that LSU game, I may not feel as a part of it as I would like to be. And that's just me personally. And that's what I love about the HBCU culture is us, and we can be ourselves. It's fun, and we can be critical of each other. You know, we gonna complain and talk trash, but we're not gonna let nobody else talk trash about us. And I think as long as we have people who are committed to improving the experience, and I feel like that's what we have on all 12 of the SWAC college campuses, and the MEAC and other schools are doing a great job. And so as long as we have people that's committed to improving the experience, and it's the student athlete experience, we got to make sure that they come there and really enjoy their time at the HBCUs. So then they'll want to come back. They'll want to send their kids back. They want to send their family members, church members. And that's what I love about it. And I think that's the direction we've been heading in. So I think it's just a great time for it. And the only other thing I would say is that, you know, the states still have to step up and fund the schools better so we can, you know, have the facilities. Like, I think everybody should have a stadium like Alabama State, like Prairie View, you know, like Jackson State, so that we can, you know, move to that level. I know, Johnny, we talk about Texas Southern all the time. I mean, that's a great program, a lot of history. A good friend of mine, Coach Dishman, is taking that program over. But yeah, we got to get that stadium on campus. I mean, that's what it's really going to take for that. And I ride my bicycle past Texas Southern all the time when I'm in Houston. So I see it. I still live in the Third Ward area and have been there for a long time. And so I just like to see all of the SWAC schools do well. I mean, I'm a fan of the SWAC schools. Of course, when we play them, we compete against them. But other than that, if a SWAC school is ever playing anybody that's not SWAC, I'm 100% rooting for the SWAC school. I don't care who they play.
That's right, Coach. That's right.
Hey, Coach, I just want to let you know that though Chennisberry did a great job yesterday, you didn't outscore Chennisberry. He stayed for an hour and 5 minutes. You working over an hour and 10, Coach. So you outscored Chennisberry. And no, I'm just joking with you,
he
Coach.
ain't SWAC. This is SWAC. I love you, Chennis, if you're watching, but you're not SWAC.
Yeah, but Chen has been down that Southern, so he's made his way to the conference for sure. So, but he's HBCU, and man, it's gonna be so fun watching what he does, because just watched him and talked to him. He's another guy that I would reach out to, and all the things that he was doing at Benedict and building that team with the defensive line and just off. And he's a D-line, O-line guy. And so he's going to make sure that the O-line is going to be good. So South Carolina State is just one of the, you know, great programs in all of HBCU football. So it's no doubt that he's going to do a great job. I'm glad he went to the MEAC and not the SWAC, so we don't have to coach against him every year.
That was the first question I asked him out the box, Eddie. Man, why didn't you go to Texas Southern? He said, Coach, they were waiting too long. I couldn't wait that long. I had to get my name on something. So.
Yeah, he's gonna get it going. You could just tell, man. He brings a lot of energy and fire to it, and I'm always following him on Instagram, watching what he's doing, stealing some of his quotes, all of that. So I know he talked about the mailman. I know he always. Yeah.
Coach Campbell, you got one for Eddie before we let him go?
No, I appreciate, Coach. I just want to tell you, you know, how much I admire you. Like I said again, I followed your career when we were in college. followed you again while you were a pro, and to see what you're doing and being just, again, that role model, academic, athletics, father, coach. Hey, man, I'm just going to say one black man proud of you, man. And like I said, I'm rooting for you for every game until the Rattlers come up there to your homecoming. Other than that, that's it. That's it.
I can live with that.
Hey, Coach, I do want to tell you one thing that we're going to have Coach Cozy on here, but you know I'm going to ask him now since you triggered that. I'm going to ask him which homecoming is better now since he had FAMU between that and Florida State. See what he say. Because I bet he probably never been back to a Florida State homecoming other than for that national championship reunion.
Ask him which one he wants. Ask him which one he'll go back to if he had to pick.
I'm going to ask you that, but Coach, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being on with us.
Absolutely. Hey, appreciate the time, man. And y'all keep doing a great job of, highlighting the coaches and the SWAC schools and the MEAC schools and the programs. And we really appreciate you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Take it easy.
Woo. Man, that was a doozy there, Coach.
Oh, yeah, man. Hey, but Coach Cole, what I like about the last two nights that we spent on the live is that those seem to be two great men. You know what I mean? And when you talk about black men in leadership, right? Those are the kind of men you want. And you notice when they talked about how to sell their program, they didn't say nothing about football. They talked about character. They talked about caring for kids. They talking about leading men and creating opportunity for them to be great fathers, great men, great citizens in the community, man. And that's not something you hear a lot when you talk about the reason you should go to Alabama and Florida State and all those other schools. They talk about other things other than character and I think it's a unique situation for any young man that comes from our culture to have a leader and mentor for the rest of their life, like Coach Berry and Coach Robinson. And so I'm very impressed with them both, to be honest with you.
Well, it's a good thing, Rocky, when we and you first started talking, about HBCUs, and I had brought you on the show, and you made some good points about the business side of it, and which was good points. And meeting the men who's behind that and taking 10 pounds and stuffing it in a 5-pound bag, you get to see their character and who they are as men. And it ain't about the money. They don't coach for the money per se. It's about us, for us, and it's about us. And those are things I don't know if you guys remember, and I don't know, Coach Campbell, if you were a part of that. And I call everybody coach. So
yeah.
Don't take that from me. I know you Bishop. You coach now.
Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, I remember we were talking about Coach Simmons, about when he would have stayed at Florida A&M, and I had made a statement to you guys that some of us just wanted to coach at black college and be a black college head coach. You know what I mean? And stay there. Now, I think, and Coach Campbell, because you've been around black college, and you've seen some of the greatest coaches that never even went to the PWIs. And I guess, Rocky, you can see, now you see it ain't necessarily about making all this money, 4, 5, 50. I mean, how many houses you can have, how many cars you want, how many shoes you want. Hell, I got 40 pair of shoes right now. I only can wear one at a time, But it's about help developing young African-American, young men to be productive, not only at the university, but back into their community and as well in the United States.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, you know what I like about Coach Berry and Coach Robinson? They remind me of a Rob Broadway, W.C. Gordon, Houston Markham, that you can see they're going to grow into those programs. Pete Richardson, you're going to see that they're going to be part of the community. That was another thing, too. People, it took me, being from Jackson, we knew exactly what W.C. Gordon lived at. You know what I mean? People would knock on his door, and he'd be out there mowing the grass and stuff like that. You think you can knock on Nick Saban's door? You think you can go to the neighborhood that we use at? So these coaches are actually part of our communities. So these are people that you're going to see them at church. You're going to see them around town. And that's what I like about these two coaches, that they're laying foundations to say, you know what, like you said, Coach, we want to be here. We love being here, and we're going to build programs. And that's what I'm excited about. I hope Coach Cozy follows that same path. I hope Coach T.C. Taylor, Jack State, follows the same path. Hope Mickey Joseph does the same thing, because we need these young guys to stay here for a little while. You know what I mean? Because we want those rivalries. We want the coaching rivalries, because the players change. But the two things that used to stay the same was the coach and the name on the front of the jersey, Coach.
So we got to get on these ADs about switching these coaches around. Y'all read y'all email, read y'all text for me. Read the text for me.
Okay. Oh, okay. We're gonna be rolling. So we roll all week, huh, Coach?
Just got off the phone. Just got off the phone, Coach.
Oh man.
Just got off the phone.
I'll have to make that flyer and get it put up here shortly, and I'll make sure I'm available, Coach.
Well, if y'all rock and rolling, I'm going to say okay.
Yeah.
See, that's what's called a T. So that means you guys got to be back here tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, because we got another SWAC coach from a legendary school that we're going to have on HBCU Coaches Corner with Johnny Cole.
Hey, let's take a quick minute before we take any calls. Let's take a quick minute. I just put the link in the chat. You guys did such a good job over on Scotty's channel, subscribing to our channel, that I wanted to I wasn't going to not stream on Scotty's channel. Y'all did exactly what we needed you guys to do yesterday, and came over to our channel and subscribe. I need you guys who weren't able to do it yesterday. Like I say, we had about 200 people on yesterday. We got about 50 or 60 people subscribed. We need those other 50, 60 people to go ahead and subscribe. We almost had 200 on today. But again, I need you to go ahead and go over to hit the link and subscribe. You know, that's the least you can do. We're not asking you to pay. We're not yet. We're not asking you to pay membership or anything like that. But we do want you to support our channel by going over to our channel and just subscribe. Only thing you got to do is click on the link and subscribe. If you want to go back and watch and comment on Scotty's channel, you're welcome to do so. But I just want to encourage you to show us a little support by going over and subscribing to our channel. And, hey, we had a lot of comments yesterday as well, and we try to respond to all the comments that require a response. So if you want to make a comment, I can't comment on Scotty's channel. So if you comment over there, I can't respond to the comment. But if you comment on our channel, myself, Coach, and Bishop Campbell, we're all monitor the comments. So, and I think Bishop Campbell had one yesterday, related to something Coach Green said or something like that. But yeah, we try to make this interactive. We're trying to because the only way our show is going to grow is if we make you a part of the show, and you guys commenting and calling in. You know, we definitely want you to be part of the show. So I just wanted to make sure we cover that before we move forward.
I'll make the announcement, Coach, that we will have the head football coach of the Grambling State Tigers. Coach Mickey Joseph will be on tomorrow, same time, same place.
Wow.
And we're looking forward, Coach Joseph came on came on our show, and what was it, a month later, he was being announced as
Coach, I think it was less than that, Coach.
Yeah.
Coach, I think it was less than that. I think it was pretty quick, Coach.
Yeah. So we're excited about having Coach Joseph.
Are you there?
On the media, and we're excited.
Are you there?
We want you guys to keep on subscribing to the HBCU Go. Coach's Corner. Sorry about it. I got that on my mind.
Coach gonna be color commentating over there on HBCU Go. Y'all better watch it.
Hey, we got us a caller in, Coach. Caller, what's your name and where you calling from? Hold on. Let me see if we got him. Hold on. Let me make sure he on here. He definitely called in. I got to make sure that he is connected.
A lot of people want to hear themselves talk and they don't understand. They could just get the tape delayed version.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's bring them in live, Coach. You know, everybody wants to talk about how great their team is, and say what they know more than we do, and things like that. Let them call in, Coach.
You know that's their favorite thing right there, man.
Hey, man, we've had Prairie View people call in and tell us we didn't know their team, and we asked them who was going to start. They couldn't tell us. I'm teasing. That's my man, Lionel. Hey, we asked them about that. New coach, new offensive coordinator. Coach Green called in and said Southern, that we need to be worried about Southern, but couldn't tell us who was going to start for Southern, but that's okay. It's all right.
And like I say, if they don't know who's going to start, how are we supposed to know?
That's it.
Well, you know, man, we can't be so hard, you know. Hey, you can't charge it to the head. You got to charge it to the heart, because you know they love their school, and it's important that we give them those answers.
Absolutely, Coach. Yeah. And I and again, I'm gonna keep saying this. There go my nephew. Yeah, he said you can pull about. You see, he just commented in the comment. He said, "Tell the truth, Miss Carolina." I knew you was out there. I just had to mess with you, no man. He's a big supporter of Prairie View. He does know his team, and he said they're going to win the West. I got to pick it. You know, these other guys said y'all not going to win. They got Alcorn. I got you Prairie View winning the West. So, you know, we'll see.
One thing about, I guess, why he get the caller.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the caller on, man.
This is the last week. You know, I know my brother coached for Clark Atlanta, and he's at home trying to pack everything up for the fall. You know, as far as with his yard and stuff. And this is the last week that most coaches got off, you know, and it's time to rock and roll. Some of the kids that went home this past weekend is getting their last little meal from mom and going to church. And, you know, it's time, man. It's football time in America in just about another week. And, you know, and being able to come in and check into the rooms, and nobody's on campus but the football players, and maybe the volleyball girls, I think, is on campus at some places. And, you know, it's an exciting time. And I know, you know, you're well rested. You've been waiting this 360 days to this point. So, you know, it's a lot of what's going on campus, you know, about getting the bills paid, about how you're going to eat, you know, dormitories that you're going to stay in. So, it's a lot going on college campuses this week, getting ready to prepare for these football team and football players to come
in. Hey, Coach, let me ask you this: once you guys kick it off this week, how long before it is that you guys get a weekend off as coaches?
Well, you're gonna go two weeks straight. You'll go 2 weeks straight, and things are, you know. It used to be where 2-a-days was every day, you know, and then they changed it to 2-a-day, 1 day, 2-a-day. But you still have 2-a-days even on the 1 day, because that 1 day is going to be a walkthrough where you just walking through plays and everything, and then you back at practice. You know, or you know, you're gonna go forward till either that morning when you put your pads on and walk through in that evening, or you'll practice that evening and walk through that morning. So you're never really off on when you get there. So those first 2 weeks, man, is really tough. You'll start hearing at night suitcases going down the steps, you know, kids leaving, you know, every now and then you'll have a coach, you know, leave. But it's very intense. And so I'll look to say about that third week that the head coach will make the adjustment, whether he'll practice on that Saturday, usually a week before the game, or that Friday night scrimmage, and then he'll let the staff off that morning so they start preparing to get ready for the opening game. You know, you walk around with your flip-flops on, your sandals, you know, you walk around with shirt tape. You really don't even ever change, coach. You know, you don't see your kids, you don't see your wife, you know, unless, you know, they might come up for a quick lunch, because you're doing everything with the kids. You know, you got mandatory breakfast, mandatory lunch. Coaches trying to find places to lay their head down because they got to practice that afternoon. Same thing with the kids. You know, in between, they trying to find time to sleep, find time to study the plays. It's just straight football. You know, it's a straight football. Everything is it's about football. So you know, and you know, after a while, you do it so long that you know it becomes who you are. You know what I mean? And you know, families have to adjust to those times. You know what I mean? You know, you have to adjust to those times. You have to get everything in before football starts. You're physical. You know, make sure you're physical. You know, like I was talking about my brother earlier, he was cleaning his pond out and taking his fish and putting them somewhere in a big bucket so they'll last. He was cleaning up his yard, knowing that I'm not gonna be back for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So it's a tough business to have, and you know, one of the things you got to have what they call a football wife. You know, a wife to understand that, you know, he's gonna be gone for a while. You know, he's gonna be gone from your children. You know what I mean? And they get to at least come to the scrimmages on that Saturday, and then you get a time to spend with them, and then of course on Sunday you right back in. So it's a tough time.
Coach, let me ask you a question. And we talking about this, there's so much change that we know we're talking about, especially at the Power 5, Power 4 level, and things like that. But if you had 5 things that you could change within HBCU football, you know, whatever you wanted to be, what were the things that you think that if you just had a magic wand to just help HBCU football, what would it be?
Well, of course, it's finance, you know, and to
what's up, bro?
Number two, it's building a stadium on those campuses.
No. I'll call you when I finish.
You know, number 3, pay the coaches. Pay them what they worth. You know, stop giving them 2 or 3 jobs. You know, that was back in the 60s, 70s, some of the 80s, 90s. It's time for a coach to be able to hire a full staff, and just like teachers, to be able to work and be a full-time coach and get a salary where they can go afford a house or a place to go. Number 4, I think social media. I think the media, we need more media about HBCUs. You know what I mean? More truth stuff about what's going around there, the pageantry. You got pharmacy schools there, you got lawyers there, you know, you got business schools there. That people have graduated from there with greatness, you know, with greatness. And you know, and being, you know, and being able to hire a whole staff to make sure you can hire more than just one trainer. You know, they need more than just one trainer. They need more than just one equipment manager. They need equipment managers. And for some places to actually buy into how much football means to the university, you know. And final and not least, you know, to be able to make sure that these kids have training tables. You know what I mean? To make sure that we understand that we got to keep up with what's going on, and why we lost kids from the 60s and 70s is because they start building these dormitories for these players. You know what I mean? They start building, having a training table. Here's another thing. They made curriculums, coach, educational curriculums, so they could get these kids where they can come through, not just black kids, but white kids also who struggle academically, so they can be able to come through their schools and get a degree, a park recreation. You know what I mean? Interdisciplinary studies degree. You know what I mean? A tennis, watching tennis balls, or whatever the degree is, to be able to have these kids be able to come through and graduate. That's how they jump in front of us, and that's how they've been getting some of our kids. They even got what they call a special ed program. Meaning, if I'm a special ed kid coming out of high school, they have a program that you can come to and be able to get your degree. So we got to be able to open up our minds. You know, our administrators got to be able to open up our minds to say, if we're going to have a football program, let's do it the right way. And it ain't necessary about facilities, but facilities are important. Make those important. It ain't about paying big salaries, but make it important. But it is about making a way to have a great football program and what all entails in it.
Hey, Coach, I think we got a couple callers. I just want to get to those guys, Coach. Wake, you're live on the air. Hold on. Oh man, I don't know what's wrong with you, Wake.
Wake wants you to wake up. He said, "Man, trying to show love for the show."
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get him on there too, Coach.
Well, you know what, Rock? I tell you what. This is what I'm gonna do real quick while you're working on that, right? Okay. Let me I'm just want to give some quick shout outs because this is a very interactive show. I'm sitting over here looking on your channel. I see Craig Hall, Adrian Cook, Southern, Elmore, this is another Southern guy, Israel Carey, he from Jackson, that's a Jack State guy. I see my boy, my nephew Cedric around here. I think I saw Cedric down there and everything. Jackson State people representing and stuff, man. We really just appreciate you, just watching the show. Hey, man, Ken K, that's the Alcorn guy. See him down there, We'll see a lot of Craig Hall, see all these people just watching the show, man. We really appreciate you all, watching the show. I just wanted to give these people a shout out. Let's see over here who over here with Scott.
Hey, Adrian Cook, you right. You right. Pocket watching degree. You right.
Yeah,
if he can play football, they gonna find a way to keep him in their school because they understand. I don't think we understand that the University of Texas made $94 million. They football program made $94 million, Coach. They put money into it because they understand the business part about it.
Well, see, that's the thing, Coach, when you sit back and you look at it, and it's not that we don't want to put money in it, right? It's that they choke the money away from us. Again, I just, being from Jackson and to see the way the state of Mississippi, Jackson State is an economic engine for the city, okay? An economic engine. And what they have said is you can build a new, Ole Miss has got a new stadium, Mississippi State's got a new stadium, and we actually get more people per capita at our stadium and would help the tax base in the city, but you won't find money for us. There's no money to be found.
Let me say this too. I've been seeing all this stuff. Oh man, they ain't been treating these black schools well. They owe this school $2 million, this school $2 million, this $2 million. For our fans and watchers, do y'all understand that 95% of HBCU schools are in Republican states?
Tell them.
So why
Ruby Red.
Exactly. So why wouldn't you think? And all the while, we've been letting that go. We've been letting that go, and nobody says really nothing about these states are choking these black schools, and they're choking them on purpose. And then what they do is they put a Republican black person on our campus who's conservative. And so if he's conservative, what is he gonna say? Oh, let's choke this football program. It's bringing too much attention to our school, and this is why.
But the thing that bothers
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess I get passionate about that because here's the thing. We're actually taxpayers.
Yes.
The state of Alabama is like 35% black. The state of Mississippi is almost 40% black. The state of Louisiana is like 33% black. You know what I mean? You start South Carolina, it's almost 40% black. So we actually are. So it's not like it's your money. It's our money. So I tell you what, you give me my 30 cents on the dollar that I put into the state. Give me my money back.
Right.
Even with Florida, which is a bigger state and more diverse with the black population. I always tell people that's why I left Florida, because I didn't want to be a fifth class citizen. At least where in Jackson and Georgia, I can be a second class citizen. I know where they stand, but I can't be behind 5 other people. But even with that being said, is that we are taxpayers. That's the thing about it. You're not giving me anything. I'm not asking for anything. I want my tax dollars to be appropriated to where I go. And I think that is only fair to ask. But to your point, is because of the politics of it. And again, this is why voting is so important. We're in an election year. So I'm going to, like you said, go out and vote. But this is why this is so important. Because again, when you have these schools that can build the facilities, right, Coach, like you said, pay the coaches. Because I'll tell you this, I didn't want to bring this up, but I'm going to bring this up because I don't want to cause a lot of problems. We had our, and Coach, you're going to understand this. We had our board of trustees meeting to talk about our basketball coach, right?
Right.
And what we were paying them. And after it's all said, I'm not going to get into politics. They only offered a man a 1-year contract, coach, and he's a nice paid head coach in the SWAC.
Wow.
And he wanted him to move his family. He wanted him to move
exactly. So because of finances and all the things the state of Florida not paying, so we got to make these type of choices. What kind of basketball team you think we're gonna have, coach?
Well, hey, look here. If I was a player there, I'd be trying to get out of there too.
That's the thing. So you're talking about we got one of the best gyms in the whole SWAC. How you gonna put players in it if we can't even pay them correctly? And why is this? It's not because, again, I'm not gonna get into the politics. Should he been there? Should he not? But just the fact, the first thing started with, do we have the money? Right. Do we have the money? Is he worth this? This should not even be an issue.
Right.
This should not be where we could. To your point, we should be able to pay every head coach on the football side at least $350,000. That's not a lot of money, coach, and you know that.
No,
far as when we look at it, a basketball coach, we can't pay every basketball coach in the SWAC $250,000. Right, our women's basketball coaches, and again, that are just as great. So, and I'm going to say equity, pay them $250,000. I'm not going to say pay them $150,000. Say pay them $200,000 too, because a lot of them will bring it.
Yeah, let me slow you down, coach. Yeah. Because we need to probably have a show and maybe bring an athletic director on to get in that. We need to answer those calls, right, coach?
Yeah.
You ready? Okay. I know you're ready. We were just talking to you ready.
Yeah. They were live on the air, man. They've been waiting patiently. Wake, you're live. Where you calling from?
I'm in Ohio.
All right, go ahead.
Oh,
what's your comment or question?
So, Coach, here's the question.
Yes.
You have two players. Two players you're gonna recruit.
Yes.
One player has a great character, but he's 2-star. Other player, 5-star, so-so character. He all right, but he might not be as great as the other one. Which one are you choosing?
Do both of them want to come to my school? And what you saying? I got one scholarship left because right now I'm gonna take both of them.
They're going to split it, Coach.
The thug and the scholar.
You're gonna pick one.
Yeah, I'm gonna take both of them. Well, Coach, there's some things about the program I run, and there's some things that a guy have to fit that. You know what I mean? I don't like my kids to be wearing dreads all down their head. I don't like all over the face, and I like character guys. I take character over talent anytime. So probably the guy that's the 5-star, if he has his hair a certain way and he don't want to cut it, then to come play for me is not his place. I would go with the other guy. But coaches are seduced by talent. So if the kid at the 5-star can pay at the 5-star level, that's who I'll go with. But if he don't want to do the things that fit into my program, then I'll take the other kid. Hopefully that answers your question.
Okay. Yeah, because I was like, okay, when you're recruiting a kid, what's the number one thing? This is my last question. When you're recruiting a player, what's the number one character trait that you're looking for in your program? That's all I got.
Okay. Well, I'm looking for, does he come from a 2-parent home? I'm looking academically. Is he strong? Where is he at? And everything always comes from what do I need on my team? You know what I mean? If I got 5 quarterbacks, then that might eliminate that kid. You know what I mean? If I need some old linemen here, you always take those guys. So that's where I would start first is, where our needs are. And so that'll determine, when I'm recruiting a kid. But character does matter. Ain't no question. I teach middle school. And today I was just talking to our middle school kids, and I teach in the state of Arizona. And Arizona is the worst public school education system in the country right now. And I had to educate them on that. And I told them, that's us. So what are we going to do with it? Are y'all still going to come in here and act like you're not going to get in straight lines? You're going to do what you want to do when you want to do. You know what I mean? So that's a lot in me of how I recruit. Or if I'm going out to recruit kids, I'm bringing them in and say, this is the rule, this is the law, and we ain't gonna bend that. The program is always bigger than the coach and then the player, because it's all about the university.
All right, Coach, we got a caller.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you.
We got another caller, Coach. 1855, what's your name and where you calling from?
What up, y'all? What's up, fellas? This is G from SWAC and the Fool, Mr. Big Bad Brave himself.
SWAC the Fool! I watch y'all all the time. Baby, I watch y'all all the time.
I appreciate you calling in, G, man. Thank you, man.
I just want to call in and give y'all flowers, man. Great shows. Want y'all to keep going. I know a lot of times in media space is a lot of back and forth go on and all this, man. But I wanted to stand aside there with you guys and tell y'all doing a great job. Excellent. I don't think a lot of people understand the importance of getting our head coaches on here to be able to speak to the masses. And y'all doing a great job. This is my first time hearing Eddie Robinson speak. And man, I'm a fan. So y'all keep doing what y'all doing. I'm a big fan.
Good.
Absolutely, G. Let me ask you a question, G. We know you with the Big Bad Braves. They were picked to win the West this year, right? Do you agree with that?
No, I thought it should have been Prairie View. My coach thought it should have been Prairie View. I appreciate the respect I think they have for my head coach. You know, everybody, if anybody know me, they know I think highly of Cedric Thomas. But I thought Prairie View earned it, and they should have been there. I think if you're asking me, I think in the end we'll be there. But preseason, I thought Prairie View brought back a lot, and I thought they should have been there. No head coach change. They had everything coming back, so I thought they should have been there with what they did when we were there last year. We choked. We didn't deserve to be number one, and so I didn't want to give us no rewards for choking. But in the future, I think we'll be there.
Now let me ask you this: even with the question mark, and I put this a big question mark with Prairie View at quarterback. You think they still should have been number one, considering they have a huge question mark, and we all know that quarterback play historically has carried the SWAC championship with it?
Yeah, because I think we have a question mark too. I love our starting quarterback Tyler Macon, but he hasn't shown it yet. He hasn't shown it yet, and at all points we develop good quarterbacks. We ain't give you nothing until you prove it. And I'm rocking with him in his corner, but he got to go prove it. So I think we got a question mark too.
Okay. So that's fair. Do you see anybody else challenging Prairie View and Alcorn coming out the SWAC? I mean, coming out the East. I mean, West.
Personally, I don't. I think there'll be an Alcorn Prairie View matchup that'll settle it. I think those two gonna be the team.
So you completely overlooking UAPB, Southern. Now, let me ask you this: that's your hometown, right? You from Baton Rouge? Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah.
What's the? Because I ain't heard nothing coming out of Southern for 6 months ever since they hired Terrence Graves. What are the prospects? Coach Green called here yesterday. Coach Green called here yesterday with a bunch of smoke and mirrors, so you never can tell what he's on. But what are you hearing coming out? Being in the belly of the beast.
So I'm on Southern campus probably 3 times a week. I get my hair cut on Southern campus, and it ain't too high right now. The fans aren't too high right now. They feel like it's gonna be a down year, and they actually a lot of them want to start the freshman quarterback. The freshman quarterback kind of build this thing. They ain't too high and loud talking. Normally when Southern good, I walk on Southern campus, they running me down. Gee, we gonna get you. Now I walk around looking for people to talk to. So the prospects ain't too high right now at Southern, but we'll see how it play out.
Hey, man, again, I love you on SWAC and the Fool, man. You got some great content. Those people who want another SWAC perspective, another, avenue or, some more media that's covering the SWAC, and they do it with a whole different flavor. I'll just say that. And so look up SWAC and the Fool. It's a great content, man, and I want to thank you for calling in and supporting the show, G.
Appreciate you.
Hey, appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Coach,
shout out to GJ Max and Al down there swacking the food. Them boys, I love them boys. Those all my nephews around there. Love them boys.
Coach, you can hear me, right?
Yeah. We can hear you. It's fun. Okay. You just
froze. You just froze up. You just froze.
Oh, Coach.
No, that's that's the whole music on the call when there's nobody in the line, man. So that was we took our last call, Coach, and looks like you're gonna have us back at work tomorrow, Coach. So
yes,
if you're ready to wrap this up, I'm ready. You got anything you want to say, Cal, before we get out of here?
Hey, man, I just want to tell everybody, you're going to get a lot of great content on this show. We appreciate the support. As you can see, we keep it right down the middle. We call ball to strike, but we're going to have a little fun with the coaches, too. We're going to bring out the side of their personality. But we want to keep growing this. We want you to tell people to watch. And we also want you guys to tell us who you want us to interview. Because I heard Lionel say, hey, let's bring on the offensive coordinator from Prairie View. We're going to work on that. If you got somebody, if you got a SWAC legend that you want us to bring on, let us know, because we want this to be the show for the people.
Yeah, Coach, I want to say this, man. I want to thank Coach Cole. I want to give Coach Cole his flowers, right? Because this platform was created by him. It was his vision, and he created this platform so that coaches, HBCU coaches, could be showcased and featured, and they could tell their stories and express their visions and get their point of view out to the masses. Coach, this has been a great, awesome platform, and I just want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of it, man. And you've been knocking it out the box, Coach. You've been working the phones, working the emails, and everything, man. And I just want to thank you and appreciate you, man, because none of this would be possible without your you. Anyway, you hear my wife. That's his accountant talking. So
the better half, the truth always comes out.
It's all her idea.
Yeah.
She said you better call 1-800-FLOWERS, as a matter of fact, after you get off this show.
Well, man, Coach, man, I understand that, the success I've had has never been me. It starts with the man upstairs, number one, and the people around me, and y'all too, man, just the interest that y'all had, to take your time. And Coach, we started off at 30 minutes. I don't think we never just had a show for 30 minutes, Coach. We up to 2 hours, and we could probably go on for 3. But that's the interest, Coach. I'm glad you guys are sharing my dream with me and just as involved in it as me, because I couldn't do it by myself. And definitely Miss Keisha Miller back there, Coach, she definitely had her hand in the making sure that Cole, call my husband. Y'all gonna be all right. Y'all two gonna be all right. So I appreciate it, man. But hey, let's go get it. Hey guys, we 155, Coach? 156?
Look, and before I get off, I also want to say this, Mr. Campbell, I want to thank you for joining the cast, man, because you kind of got drafted. We didn't ask you. We didn't ever have a meeting saying we're going to bring you on board, man. You just almost became part of the show in a real organic way, and we couldn't do this show without you either, man. You're an integral part of it. The perspective that you bring, the knowledge that you bring, and you're with your driving ability as well, man. And showing us the city of Atlanta, man, it made for a natural connection, man. I want to thank you for being part of this, man, because you've added a touch to it that it desperately needed.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I'm a fan, and Coach Cole, I've been a fan of yours. I know exactly what you did down there at Texas Southern. I'm glad to be a part of this because, again, you were the guys I looked up to when I was a young guy. You know what I mean? I never got a chance to coach football, but I always loved football. I'm a big football fan. And I just want to represent the fans that truly love our HBCUs and love the SWAC and the MEAC. I just want to give that honest perspective. And from an old head part of it, I want to just I appreciate it because I'm going to keep saying it. We didn't have this when we were young. We didn't have this. So for all the young people that get to call in like G and all those people that ask the questions and things like that, hey, man, I'm just glad to be a part of it. And I'm going to do my best to make sure and add what I can add to it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, Coach. Hey, look, I'm going to keep saying it. We need to vote. We got to vote. We got to vote. This is a real, very important time to vote. You got some things going on and some things that's happening. Get on that TV, watch whatever channel you want, MSNBC, Fox, make your decision. Do you want a king or do you want a president? I don't want no king. We live in a free country, and that's the way I like it. But it's your choice. You gotta vote. If you don't vote, that's not the route. Vote for who you want, who you think is the best interest of you. Thanks again, and looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Mickey Joseph, Grambling State University. Guys, if you're having an issue, if you feel yourself at the end of the rope, tie a knot, hold on tight, because ain't nobody bad like you.